Hi guys, it's been a while. I also have to say before I get into the episode that I know I haven't posted in 3 weeks on my Spotify. I don't really have a good excuse because I could technically pre-record all the episodes and upload them, but I obviously didn't do that. I did though record a bunch of episodes that I tried to get up in time, but then every single time I would start editing them and listening to them, I just did not like how it sounded. I just was not in my prime those few weeks coming up till my Japan trip. And so I was like really cringing listening to my episodes and I just could not handle it. And I was like, I don't want anyone to have to sit through 30 minutes of this, even though I did promise I'd stick to a schedule. I don't want to put out crap. And the thought of like maybe a cute boy or like a cool friend listening to a really bad episode is not fun. And I always hate that feeling of like putting out a bad episode and then thinking to myself, well, I hope people listen to the other ones because the other ones are way better, but I just put out this crappy one for now. And I can't even guarantee that. And I also, my last episode that I put up, which is the 2 things we don't do enough of, I think, or we need to do more of, something like that. I didn't really like that episode, but I just put it out there because I was like, okay, I really got to stick to this. And this is like the last episode I need to put up before I go on my trip. And I put it up and it's been sitting there for 3 weeks for random people to find. And I really don't like that episode. And I was trying to kind of bury it deeper in my list of episodes by putting out a new one, but I didn't. So now it's the first episode that if anyone never heard of my podcast would listen to. So anyways, getting into my high-low buffalo after that long tangent. My high, obviously going to Japan, but I'll speak more specifically for I guess this week and next week for my high-low buffalo. My high for my Japan trip, I really loved how cheap everything was. Like, shopping was so freaking cheap. I went thrifting. I wish I got to thrift more, but my whole family was being so annoying and they didn't want to wait for me to go thrifting. And they're also judging me for how quote unquote expensive thrifting is. And Asian families, for some reason, at least mine, they have a thing against thrifting. They just don't understand why would you buy someone else's used clothes. But anyways, there's that. But then there's also really, really cheap food. And I had the cheapest and most fresh sushi I've ever had in my life. And I was literally so happy. I think I had sushi 4 or 5 times already in a 2-week period, which is not enough. I wanted to leave the trip like literally sick and tired of sushi, but I could honestly go for sushi today, but I know it will not hit the same as it did in Japan. And for my low, I came back from Japan and I don't know, I think because I was in Japan and I distracted myself doing so many things and making sure that the trip was going well for my family, I felt like, really busy and I had a lot of fun. And I didn't really have a lot of time to think about other things. But now that I've come back, everything's kind of hitting me. Even on the plane, I was like going through it for some reason. And it's not even because my period. Can't use that as an excuse because it's not coming until like another 2 or 3 weeks. But anyways, I'm just feeling really unfulfilled, really unsatisfied. I feel not creative. Like I just feel like I'm just a blob and I don't know what to do next. And I'm kind of just going with the flow, even though I don't really want to do whatever the flow is. And like even today, this is so terrible and like out of character for me. I worked until 7 p.m. which is insane because I actually started work at 6 a.m. So I've been working over 12 hours today, and I had like, I don't know, a 10-minute lunch, and I quickly ate dinner and then worked afterwards. But I only did that because I was trying to kill time and not think about what I'm really feeling and not, get into that. So I did that, and it wasn't a good idea because I'm still feeling what I feel. I'm just waiting to address it. That's my low. And for my buffalo, a weird thing that happened. So some weird things that happened during my Japan trip was a typhoon hit the country, and specifically in the areas that I was in, like staying in at the time, which was Kyoto, and then also the place that I was planning to go to the next day, which is Osaka. So it was so weird because the weather was just super hot and like fine, whatever. And then all of a sudden, we got a hurricane warning, and we had to cancel all of our Osaka plans, and we ended up taking a day in Kyoto, which I'm super grateful for actually, because I needed the break. I was exhausted, and it was nice being forced not to do anything, but I also got to experience my first typhoon/hurricane, which was fine. It's just, a typical natural disaster. It is not something to play around with, which I figured out because I went outside that day because I wanted to get food, and I literally almost blew away. But besides the point, I'm going to go into the topic for this week's episode, which is super fun. I actually started recording this a few weeks ago before I left to Japan, and that was one of the episodes that I actually hated. So I'm going to do it again, and hopefully it sounds better so that I can post it this time. Okay, so for this week's episode, this is a spin-off of my weirdly specific green flags. And now I'm doing weirdly specific turn-ons, but guy and girl version. So I came up with a list of things for the weirdly specific turn-ons for guys. And then I asked my guy friends and also their friends to send me a list of things for girls. So starting off with my list, and just a warning, feel free to judge me honestly, because looking at this list, I deserve the judgment because it's a little bit weird. But I mean, it only makes sense for this topic. So starting off, a muscular back. I really like when just people in general, it doesn't even have to be like a guy or a girl. It's just a toned back. I think it's just super attractive. I also think messy hair is attractive. I don't know what it is. Like the messy, effortless look is really cool to me. I also really like, this is so specific, but hear me out. I saw this a lot when I was in college. I would see guys that were going to interviews, I'm assuming, and they would be wearing tuxes, but they also would use a skateboard to get to class or wherever they're going. So I just like found it really attractive, the mixture and like the juxtaposition of guys wearing tuxes while they're skateboarding. And another weirdly specific turn on is when a guy is a hugger. So when they go in for the hug, instead of being kind of awkward, I think it's like very warm and welcoming, and it shows that they're more confident in a way. So I find that attractive. I also like specific types of glasses. So it is the very basic, classic turquoise. Is that the spelling, pronunciation, whatever? Yeah, turquoise. It's like the brown, dark brown, spotted kind of print type of glasses. I love that type of glasses on guys. I think that's super attractive when they wear it. I also find it attractive, again, this is like literally for any gender, when someone is in their element. So whenever I watch like even on reels or in real life, I really like watching people do things that they're good at, even if they're like stupid things. Like I came across a reel of a guy who works at a manufacturing company, or like some kind of, like, it was a toothpaste like factory, and the guy was like putting the bottles into a basket, but he was doing it super fast and like super efficiently, and I just found that super cool. I just think it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be like this insanely impressive thing, but if you're like good at something and I get to see you do something good, I think that is attractive. I also really find it attractive when guys wear cargo or wide pants. If you wear super duper skinny jeans, it is instantly the turn off for me, which is crazy because I used to wear the skinniest skinny jeans to the point where I would take off my skinny jeans and I would have literal imprints in my legs. And I think there are times when I've like lost circulation in my legs, which is kind of bad. And I'm not into that anymore. And I can't believe that I used to suffer through that. But nowadays, I guess it is, a trendy thing, but I still find it just really attractive when guys wear cargo or wide pants. It just looks way cooler. And yeah, very self-explanatory. I also find it a turn on when a guy's willing to try any food. They don't have to like every food, but they have to be willing and open to try anything. Food is a huge thing for me. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know this. I post way too much about food. I talk too much about food, and I review food way too much. I spend way too much time doing it, to be honest. But yeah, I really care about it. So I find it attractive, and I find it super important that the people that I hang out with are willing to try anything, which is also why it's difficult for me to hang out with people who have dietary restrictions. Not that it's a problem. It's just a little bit of a hassle. Another weirdly specific turn on is ugly cute or cute ugly people. Okay, so on the scale, there's a scale. Wait, let me actually back up really quick. There's a scale. So the scale goes from ugly, cute, cute, ugly, cute. If you've ever heard of that, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but there's a scale of attractiveness. And I am not really attractive to the cute, like attractive types of people. So a lot of people would say like Ryan Gosling, Zac Efron, those type of people in the cute category, like just insanely perfect. They follow the stereotype in society. I don't find those people very attractive. I actually find it pretty boring, and they're not very memorable. But I do find ugly, cute, ugly people attractive. Okay, so for the last weirdly specific turn on, this one's pretty weird. It's when guys spread their arms. Like, they don't have to be like putting their arms around people, but they just like spread their arms like around the couch or whatever. I just find that attractive. God, this is so weird. Like, saying it is super weird, but I'm trying to be so super duper honest here. Okay, moving on to the list that my guy friends and my brother helped me create. This is what they came up with for girls that they found were weirdly specific turn-ons. So the first is a good parallel parker. I don't want to comment on like any of these. I'm just going to say them, I think, because it's not for me to say. I agree with some. I could see where they're coming from for some of these, but also like I don't really have much to say. I'm just like, oh, that's interesting, or that's kind of funny. Okay, but anyways, good parallel parker. The next is collarbone tattoos. The next one that my guy friends said was good handwriting, which is very specific, and like you have to be paying a lot of attention to notice something like that, but good handwriting. Another one is, so basically when you have under eye bags, that's not what I'm talking about. So the wrinkle, which is your under eye bag, is one wrinkle. But then there's another wrinkle that like is slightly smaller and still under the eye. That is a turn on as well. I'm doing such a bad job of explaining it, but if you guys know what I mean, there's like another wrinkle that you can have underneath your eye. It's like a beauty feature, and only some people have this, and I guess this is another weirdly specific turn on. Pretty laughs, and another one is like a bicep / arm dip tonage. Like basically, so think of your shoulder and then your top bicep and your actual bicep, like that line and like tonage right there. I guess my guy friends and maybe guys in general find it as a turn on. Another one, again about the collarbones, is accentuated collarbones. Another one of my guy friends said half up, half down hair with hoops, which is so specific. And another one is damp curly hair. Oh my God. I'm literally laughing about these, but I'm sure everyone's laughing about the ones that I came up with as well. Okay. The next one is under-dyed or highlights in hair. Another weirdly specific turn on is being multilingual. And finally, these two are about food. Again, the same thing that I've said in the past, which is being open to trying new foods. And the last one is if a girl can finish all of their food. That is a weirdly specific turn on. Okay, so that is not really a comprehensive list, but hopefully some of you guys can relate out there to both of the lists. And thank you guys for watching, and be on the lookout for my next episode next week. Yes, I am getting back into it, and I'm actually feeling so much better by recording this episode today, because if I just did nothing and just laid there and went on my phone, I think I would have just felt terrible. But yeah, have a good rest of your week, and bye.